This show is brought to you in part by Bogart Extractors, an industry leader revolutionizing hydrocarbon extraction. Licensed facilities can rest assured that Bogart's certified systems meet all industry standards. They are peer-reviewed by a third-party engineer to ensure your facility and its employees can operate safely. And each stainless steel unit is built and tested right here in the USA. Bogart's functional extractors boast a faster and more cost-effective process with features like hydrocarbon falling films to supercharge evaporation rates, heavy-duty explosion-proof pumps for flammable liquid or vapor, industrial chillers capable of maintaining large tanks of solvent at temperatures well below negative 60 degrees Celsius. And Bogart offers extensive tech support and consultation services. So whether you need to set up an extraction lab from scratch or simply need some replacement gaskets, Bogart is a phone call away at 855-553-3887 or visit bogart.com. That's BHOGART.com. Welcome. You're listening to Casually Baked, the podcast, home base for the Canna curious. Thanks for tuning in.
It's high time. We had a high time together. Yes, it's high time. We had a high time together.
I was recently asked if I'd host a podcast camp at my new HQ in wine and weed country. Arnav and I threw around some ideas, and he says the vibe of the new Casually Baked studio is super groovy and like being transported to a storyland. So, how about this? If you're fleshing out a creative idea and want to learn the ins and outs of a pro podcast production, or maybe your show's already rolling, but you want to up your storytelling game to attract your dream listeners and advertisers, I'm happy to host you, and together Arnav and I will share what we know and what we have learned with you. It'll be hands-on, immersive, sometimes intense, but always fun. And likely, it's a tax write-off. So email ask@casuallybaked.com to learn more about upcoming fall and winter creative camps. That's ask@casuallybaked.com. Hi, y'all. I'm Jo, your host and cannabis lifestyle guide. I don't know about you, but people can't help but whip out cannabis or CBD products or flower around me, asking, what do you think? Is this good? Did I buy the right thing? And I gotta say, because we're all precious snowflakes living in our own cozy corner of the world, not shopping the same products, I might add, it's hard for me to give honest feedback without doing some homework first. I had a friend recently pull out vape carts that she had grabbed at a dispensary near the airport. But when I was trying to look up the product, the website was vague. I couldn't find the certificate of analysis, and I knew she got it in California, but I'd never heard of the brand. Turns out, it's not hard to end up in an unlicensed dispensary in California, buying product that hasn't been heavily regulated like legal cannabis products. So I thought it'd be fun and productive to unpack the cannabis shopping experience and arm you with some basic tools to choose products you can feel confident buying and consuming. Joining me is Andrea Brooks, a cannabis advocate, lobbyist for social change, and an entrepreneur with a passion for health and wellness. Following a disabling injury in which cannabis played a crucial role in her recovery, Andrea was inspired to advocate for the plant and build solutions in the cannabis space. She founded Sava in 2015, which is now a leading online cannabis marketplace and delivery service in the Bay Area. But before we dive in, a word from our sponsor, MJ Relief, the muscle rub Ph.D. formulated for what aches and pains you. And this week, we'll hear Nick's story of relief.
Hey, this is Nick. I've been using MJ Relief on my knees, ankles. My hands get sore after fly fishing, and it helps just kind of relieve that arthritic feeling in my thumbs after a long trip. I also use it to help my girlfriend's neck pain. I didn't realize how good of a massage oil it also doubles as. So, I mean, I just use like a pea-sized amount and just rub it on a localized area. And I just like fan it out, and it lasts a really long time. It smells really good, and she loves it. It doesn't really have that greasy oil feel that is normally left on my hands with other massage oils, and it smells really good. She loves it. I love it. We're going to keep it stocked for the foreseeable future. The stuff's really good. She's smiling every time we use it, so that's a win-win.
If you're feeling Nick's pain and want some muscle and joint relief of your own, head over to mjskinrelief.com and order a 10 or tube for you and your favorite fishing buddy. And if you want to help spread the word of relief, please leave a written review on the website. Or send me a voice memo and let me share your story of relief in your voice on the podcast. That's mjskinrelief.com or at mjskinrelief if you're a social butterfly. The Sustainability Roll-Up is presented by OCB Rolling Papers. In perfect harmony with natural, sustainable practices, it's always been the OCB signature to provide the highest quality, responsibly sourced, and sustainably crafted rolling papers. In my chat with Andrea, we talk about the importance of buying products from a licensed dispensary for cannabis and a licensed retailer for hemp-based CBD and Delta-8 products. In California, because many licensed medical dispensaries simply upgraded their old stores to become legally compliant after Prop 64 was passed, the differences between the two kinds of shops aren't always apparent to customers, especially newbies. In California, the amount of unlicensed illegal cannabis dispensaries is estimated to be over 3 times higher than the amount of legal ones. According to the California Department of Cannabis Control, also known as the BCC, the state has 7,297 active cannabis farm licenses as of August 30th, 2021. By contrast, the state reports 1,130 retail store or delivery licenses. Retail store licensing remains subject to local control in California and slow growth laws. Between a bureaucratic nightmare with licensing, including obscene fees, limited availability, and other issues, going legal in California isn't cheap or easy. This has resulted in a state filled with dispensaries that were previously legal for medical patients, but are now illegal on the adult use market. Aiming to make the distinction as simple as knowing if a restaurant is up to health code, in 2020, the BCC created an emblem. It's to be placed on legal cannabis business storefronts. These emblems have a unique QR code that pulls up the licensing information of the business. So if you don't see one of those QR codes on the door or in the window, then that dispensary isn't legal, or that emblem's still in their top desk drawer. Maybe ask them for it. In addition to the QR code emblems, there are also subtle ways of telling if a dispensary is legal or not, like asking about taxes and testing, or looking for visual cues. If you see big bags and jars of cannabis in the shelves and the bud tender is weighing from it instead of it being individually packaged, it's highly probable that it's not a legal shop. Now, why does that matter if you're paying less money and no tax? Woohoo! Well, the weed might be cheaper, but it certainly won't be cleaner. As an example, last year, the BCC tested vape cartridges from 45 illegal shops, and 75% of them, 3 out of 4, failed the vitamin E acetate test. And if you listened to my show with Dr. Monica Vialpando about vaping, that means they were contaminated with the commonly cited source of the vape crisis. You'll be hard-pressed to find trust and transparency in an illegal shop. So play the long game, my friend, with your personal health and safety, and support your local legal dispensaries and delivery services. We got to look out for each other. And when it comes to rolling papers, I trust my flower to OCB. OCB is the largest rolling paper brand in the world and has been one with nature, crafting their papers naturally since 1918. And they continue to uplevel their efforts to this day. All OCB papers are plant to puff and made in a facility that's powered by 100% green energy. With longevity like that, you know they've perfected the process for a consistently great session time after time. Of course, you must be 21 and older to buy OCB rolling papers and to follow the natural wonders of OCB on social at OCB_USA. And if you're a grown-up joint rolling novice like I was at the beginning of this whole thing, I invite you to learn the craft alongside me. Catch the Roll With Me video series live streaming on the Casually Baked YouTube channel with replays on the WeedTube and IGTV. And if you haven't bought your rolling supplies yet, visit ocbusa.com/baked to get 4 booklets of OCB and a rolling tray for only $4.99. This bundle is worth $20 and is around for a limited time. But the rolling skills and street cred we'll earn together, my friend, makes this bundle priceless. As for you OGs who can roll a joint while smoking one, I challenge you to sample the entire line of OCB products and let me know your favorite. Ask for OCB wherever you buy your papers. You'll find links to the OCB special offer and Roll With Me in the Potcast 204 show notes at casuallybaked.com. Andrea and I also talk about chronic pain, curating your cannabis experience, and asking for what you want. So smoke 'em if you got 'em and settle in. It's time to get casually baked.
I got the bottle of wine, the high dollar kind. I got the West Coast smoke, but I better just take one.
Welcome to a live stream of Casually Baked, the podcast. I am here with Andrea Brooks, the founder and CEO of Sava, my favorite cannabis delivery service in the Bay Area. And I'm really excited to unpack the cannabis shopping experience with you today, Andrea. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so you started Sava back in 2015, and you've seen a lot of evolution in the cannabis industry, the products that are available, the way things are packaged, the way they're marketed and sold. And so I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to get some advice for people trying to figure out how to shop and how to find the right products for them specifically. What are you finding that's helping, sift through the noise, so to speak, in the cannabis product market?
There's so many different factors involved, right? It's what is the product that's going to help you the most, but also I think a lot about the combination of also like what businesses do you want to support, because you might find like this perfect product or, a product that's made by a couple different companies, and maybe you want to support a women-owned brand or a BIPOC-owned brand. And so something that we do at Sava, where we prioritize onboarding women-owned and BIPOC-owned LGBTQ brands. And we feel it's important to make it transparent when you're searching for a product, like who the owners of these brands are and extra details. So when you go to our shop page, you can put in like whether you're looking for high CBD edible, but you can also say women own. And so when you're asked that question, I like to step back and take an even more holistic view, because we really believe strongly in values-based shopping, being that we're women, Latinx, and LGBTQ owned. It's important for us to always bring those values to the forefront. So that's a big piece for us. And it's then, knowing what you want, obviously, is important, because there are so many options out there. And that is both the beauty of cannabis, and it can also be really challenging because I think cannabis can be life-changing for someone. And it may not be, especially if you're coming from like more of a medical need, but really for anybody, honestly, it can be life-changing, but it may not be the first thing you try that is that perfect fit. So I also, I think some patience to the shopping experience is important. And, for anybody that's new to cannabis, we really want to like be patient, call us for advice, like call the team, which is like really well trained, look through our educational resources, like take the time to research. This isn't about like a quick experience where you just like get on, something looks good, purchase it, like do the research. And that's so much of what Sabit is set up for people to take some more time and research and everything, so that you're becoming a more informed shopper and then being able to have a variety of tools to segment out more of what you're looking for.
So, one of the things as a cannabis lifestyle guide, when someone comes to me initially, and maybe it's a family member when I'm home for the holidays or somebody asking me, a quick question through social, my first question, are you ready to make bad days a thing of the past? I invite you to explore the why behind the things you do every day that make you feel awesome. In his new book, Make It a Great Day, author Jarrett Robertson shares small ideas you can use to feel your best. So the next time you're looking for ways to improve your day or mood, you're empowered to do just that. Your day can't control you when you follow this roadmap to thrive. Purchase Make It a Great Day on Audible or online at makeitagreatday.ca. Back is, how do you want to feel? Like, what is your motivation for seeking cannabis? Having them kind of put themselves at the center of that universe before they begin the shopping experience, because otherwise it is overwhelming. There's a ton of different methods of consumption. There's lots of different brands. There's different things to look at. And I will say I do appreciate that about your site, that you can click on the things that are important to you and sort and sift that way. I don't know that there are other online shopping experiences that I've seen that let you add your values into the mix. And so, that's something that I preach a lot too, is, to vote with your dollar, know your farmer. And so you providing that additional information really does help people feel good about the decisions and the purchases that they're making.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we want to provide transparency.
Well, and, and that's a big thing for me is I want to support local businesses. I want to support local or regional farmers who are, Sun and Earth certified, who are doing it right, who have regenerative farming operations. And, in order to really believe those stories, it's nice to see a face. It's nice to see, oh, these are the farmers or this is the business owner. But beyond that, like picking the right products, what method of consumption am I looking for? Am I a low doser? Am I a microdoser? Am I a heavy hitter? It really is like you have all of these different buckets and it's like, okay, which one's the most important right now?
Yeah, totally. And that's again, like part of the fun, but you want to be able to give yourself the opportunity to try a couple different things. So, how to get to the perfect fit or how to get to a couple perfect fits for different times of day or different types of activities. I use cannabis in different ways throughout the day/week/weekend. It is extremely integrated into every component of my life at this point. So it's just also, being open to the, experience and where it can lead you.
Yes. And you started out as a medical patient, correct?
Correct.
So
yes.
tell me a little bit about your entrance into the world of cannabis.
Yeah. I am definitely one of the people that, I wasn't decades-long activist. I came to cannabis around 2013. My journey of getting to cannabis was medical because I had a major injury about 10 years ago, and it affected my spine and thus my nerves and mobility in my upper body. and I had very extensive nerve damage in my arms. So I was in incredible pain and also had limited usage of them based on like the nerve damage. The quick and dirty is that, my doctors, after some limited physical therapy were like, this is permanent, go on permanent disability. You're not going to work a desk job ever again. Like, kind of like, this is your new life. And I also was being prescribed a lot of pain medications, including opioids. And I learned very quickly that when you are in extreme chronic pain, you will take anything to make that pain go away. I'd never, it's something you can't relate to until you're there. And it's almost like, remember the worst headache you've ever had, and then that is your new normal. It affects you on so many different levels. It affects your mental health incredibly. So it really felt like I went from this active person with such a full life. I had a career I loved. I was in a band. I was doing, advising to nonprofits and on boards, and it just stopped. And then stayed that way until I crossed paths with a friend who is a grower and has been a grower for some time. And he gave me this really personalized education about cannabis. And being that we're talking 2013, this is before we all had CBD as part of our vernacular. Like, it wasn't out there the way it is now, or even the past couple of years. I mean, I had never heard of it before, and so he gave me a walkthrough about like endocannabinoid system, the different cannabinoids, and then put me on a protocol. And, I experimented a little bit. In short, I was able to wean off all of my pain medications using cannabis. And it was shocking to me. Like, I could not believe like this was out there the whole time. I didn't know. It wasn't something where it was like, oh, I have this health issue, I'm going to go to cannabis. Cannabis was a last resort for me. So coming out of that experience, it was like, why didn't I come to this amazing plant sooner? And how many other people are there like me out there? And I just started thinking like, what were my barriers to entry? And that's how Sava was born, was like, let's create a different type of shopping experience where the values are integrated to like the curation process, how to search, where there are photos of the people behind the product, which felt risky. But I also felt like that's how you build trust. And that is what helped me. I mean, how do I replicate the experience with my friend? Not everyone has their own personal cannabis farmer to come and give them, a one-on-one session of how to use the plant for your needs. So, we really tried to recreate that as best as possible with Sava, and delivery was important to me because I had been requiring delivery, having been homebound. So I had a particular attachment to it.
The delivery thing is such a big deal, especially for women or older new consumers. When I was first starting out as a cannabis lifestyle guide, it was me holding someone's hand in getting their medical card and, just kind of educating them and sending them on their way. But when I would follow up, so many of the women were like, I still haven't gone to a dispensary yet. I'm intimidated. So I started adding that on where, I do personal shopping. It's such an ingrained thing in women to not want to be bad at something, feeling uncomfortable trying something new like that. And with really good curated products and delivery, you take that fear piece out of it, and it just becomes more about their willingness to experiment and try new stuff. So, when you were getting this going and you're, coming up with your product lineup, that you're going to be value-based, the types of stuff you want to carry, what's your process of curation? How do you choose your partners?
Sure. We ask a lot of questions. So we like to look at every part of the product, and that's whether the company is super small or really large company. So we want to know, how the cannabis was sourced, where was it grown, how is that, if it's something where there's extract, like all that process. So we make sure that we're able to look at the standards of everything from where the cannabis comes from to where things are getting on the shelf. So that is a big part of it. We have testers that will test the product to make sure it's having the effect as intended, because, there are times that we've tried things and had a very different experience from a tester. So it's really important for us to not just take a claim on its face, but have a user experience of someone in our network that fits the profile of a Sava customer, or one of the many profile types of a Sava customer. So we also we look at packaging, not just for clarity of how to use the product, which is a part of it, but is this company prioritizing recyclable materials, compostable materials? Is that a part of who they are? So we really are thinking of the footprint of cannabis as well. The amount of packaging we're required to have, and then the detriment to the environment is really upsetting to us. And we want to make sure the companies we work with are doing what they can to offset that. And then we talk with the founder. I talk with the founder, and I want to see if there's a values alignment. Do we really connect? And there have been large companies we don't work with because we really didn't think the authenticity of values was there. And then there's other companies, it's kind of like when it clicks, you can know pretty much off the bat. And when it doesn't click and it's not going to be a good fit, we know there'll be another company that is. So we're looking for alignment in culture, values, environmental approach, and high quality ingredients product.
That is one of the things that really drives me crazy too in this space is, I want to have an excellent product, but I want you to have a, minimal footprint. You're respecting the environment. And, we don't need to have an Apple unboxing experience for a pack of gummies. Not necessary. I know that kind of thing is a big seller in LA and places like that, where those looks are way more important than what I, value that as. And so I'm constantly trying to rattle the cages of people who are shopping to say, hey, are they supporting the environment? Are they supporting local farmers? And so I love that y'all have gone through the vetting process, so I don't have to do that. That's appreciated. I think that's an added value for a consumer. I know that you're working on something, a cannabis manifesto, if you will.
Well, it's tied to this, where we're always looking at the industry as it changes and making sure that we have the highest quality standards in place. So to that end, we're always re-reviewing how we curate, and what is highest quality. So we're always going back out to experts in different areas, making sure our standards are right. And then we take that and that goes into our cannabis manifesto. So some of it is it's essentially our approach to curation and making sure that that is clear to the consumer and dialing that in, which includes all our values and what you can expect to find on the shelf of Sava. So it's said differently. Amanda and I have always said we don't put things on the shelf that we wouldn't put in our body. And we've always intuitively known what that means, but we're always pushing ourselves to tease it out a little bit more, and what does that really mean? So we should have the manifesto done soon, but it's really always taking the time to take a step back. Are we still doing what we've intended to do? And also making sure that the message is really, really clear, because we know our customers value our curation, value that we, focus on high quality products, but we want to provide more transparency in how we go about that.
I appreciate that. And, as someone who I choose low to no sugar things, and there are times when I want to see products on shelves that I'm not seeing. So, what does that look like for your consumers to ask for what they want? How are you listening to your consumers?
That's a great question. So we do customer surveys. So that's one thing. So we actually just did a customer survey recently, and one of the questions was, what product do you want to see on Sava? And so, we got over 600 responses, which is awesome. And then it's about taking all of those, what patterns are we seeing in terms of what's recommended? And we also track this in our customer support department. So we will hear things from the people that are talking with our customers of like, hey, we're getting a lot of requests for X product. Is that something we can loop into our curation process? So we actively listen. It's something I ask for feedback from my team on, like, what do you see? What are you hearing? Making sure that we're listening, and then also actively going to the customer ourselves with like a survey where we can track the data.
I like that. Well, I am a new affiliate of Sava. And of course, I told you earlier, I've been recommending Sava for years. And I finally had one of my friends say, why are you not like actively engaged with them? So I'm excited to be able to do that. And now I can give you my wish list of the things that I want to see. But one of the things that drives me crazy that I see is this like, the gummy train just never ends. It's like, what is everyone's obsession with gummies?
Well, you're talking about a customer or a brand, because really what is happening is gummies have been a top selling category. And as brands get data and see that this is still a top seller, then everyone wants to have a gummy on their menu or as part of their SKU. So when we were looking at our overall data, we were, it's like, I was surprised to see that with us also, that gummies was like the number one, but it has continued to be the truth for quite some time. We knew like edibles and tinctures are our top two categories, but when you break down edibles, it is gummies. And so I think it's simple. Once you find what works, you get to repeat that every single time. People like something that is reliable and consistent. Yeah. I mean, those are the big appeals. Is it's also you're not eating like a chocolate, you're not eating something too heavy. It's something just to quick pop in your mouth.
And speaking of, so what has happened to chocolate sales since gummies are like off the charts now, and the drinkables? I mean, where in the edibles category, how is all of that stuff playing out?
Oh, for us, drinks are big. Drinks continue to go up and up and up. So I think the drink market will continue to grow. Our consumer loves it. We see like not just a high initial purchase rate, but a high repeat purchase rate. So we're always looking at that. So I'm really excited about where drinks are and where they're going in terms of being more integrated for people's after work and weekend routines. Like, I think that's going to happen more and more. And so, but I think a gummy user, there's crossover, but I think our number one selling gummy is still a sleep gummy, and so that's a little bit different than maybe having a drink, or depends on how that drink is targeted. If you're talking about can, where it's a social tonic, that's more like getting together with your friends, or I would see the positioning more that way. There could be drinks that's really about like nighttime and sleep, but again, like, do you want to drink a whole drink to get that, or pop a gummy? So it's really, to me, it's some of the context. I also will have gummies, and there's a specific way that I use them. But when I'm consuming cannabis with friends or in a social setting, I like a joint, or I like drinks. And so I'm someone who, when there's gatherings in the park, which has been the main way to socialize during the pandemic, I'll bring drinks with me. And that's something like people get to try it. And it's a group activity, which I love.
Yes, and I appreciate the drinks a lot. The older I get, the more I've weaned myself off of alcohol and, substituted more of that California sober lifestyle. But my problem with the drinks is, I'm more of a heavy hitter. I've been using cannabis for over 20 years. And for me, it's the sugar content that just adds up. So it's like, oh, that was 2 milligrams of THC and 4 milligrams of CBD, but I need to have this whole 4-pack to get where I want to go. And now I've consumed, 20 grams of sugar. So, those are the things that I'm looking forward to the drinkables category to continue to evolve to, give me another option. Hi-Fi Hops is really my one option of like 0 calories, 0 sugar. I can count on that, but I want some variety in that no sugar space.
Yeah. And that's actually something we're looking at, like adding more sugar-free things to our menu. I am someone also who wants to minimize how much sugar I put in my body. Although I also have a sweet tooth and I love a sweet treat. So as with everything in life, balance. But I think we'll start seeing more of that. We definitely look for it ourselves. I think like the challenge with drinks is for someone who wants a higher THC experience, and the way, you'll see then like like Pure Beauty has their little strong drink, and it's, I think, and I'm pretty sure it's 100 milligrams. So there are things out there. It's just kind of finding the balance of what that's going to be. And then also what is the context of that product? Is it meant to be like, I'm hanging out with my friends drinking, or is this like, a different type of more in-home consumption or very targeted consumption?
And I did get a little strong drink in my last Sava delivery, and so it is on my docket for the weekend to try out.
Will you let me know? Will you email me and let me know what you think?
Yes,
I would love to know.
I will.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy.
Strong for me. I mean, we had great response to it, but I'd love it. I'd love to hear what you think.
Yes, I enjoy the whole mixology idea. And so instead of just, cracking a can and drinking something, I like the idea of being able to, mix a cocktail and be able to share that with a few people versus, just, like I said, cracking a can. So I'll have fun with that this weekend. Yes, I'll definitely give you feedback. I liked their packaging. I was like, the little strong drink. Okay. Like, you're telling me exactly what I'm in for.
Yeah, I like it too. It's clear. It's both still cute and also clear. So,
yes, cute and clear is the key word.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that I think inhibits a lot of people from experimenting, is the fact that, it's expensive to buy cannabis on the legal market, to try out new products. If you're getting delivery, making sure you're tipping your driver just like you do with any other service industry. If you're buying a pizza, you tip. You get cannabis, you tip. So, the prices add up. And so you don't want to waste money on things. And so one of the things that I really like that Sava does is, occasionally putting together these packs. A sample pack, try a bunch of different things. You have a promotion at different holidays, and then it allows you to experiment with more things than you normally would. And I think y'all did one for Pride. I think that was maybe the last good one. What do y'all have coming up for the fall? We're in harvest season. Do y'all have any fun things y'all are kicking off?
There will be. Well, yeah. I mean, there'll be some things around the holidays, so I don't want to ruin the surprise. So you will have to get on our email list to have access to these types of things. But we do love doing curated boxes around, like, again, like something like Pride, or something that is featuring like these different product makers. Why don't you be able to try all of that? So that's something we've done. Usually they're exclusive boxes and that are, for a certain amount of time. So I don't want to ruin a surprise, but there will be more things coming out. We've done stuff around Valentine's Day in the past, and then there's a lot happening with harvest in the fall. So, stay tuned.
Okay, we'll stay tuned. Now, I will say that I recently moved from Oakland, where I was able to use your service regularly because I'm in the Bay Area. And now I've moved to Sonoma County, and I am just a little too far north to be in my regular Sava delivery area. So tell me right now where, kind of where y'all's map is, where people can use getsava.com.
If you come to our website, getsava.com, and then /delivery, you can see our whole delivery area. We deliver to more than 70 cities in the Bay Area. So it's about an hour and a half north, east, and south in a full radius. Now, that is not the final geographical footprint for us. So we are going into our Series A raise. that will allow us to fund further expansion in NorCal. We want to be able to reach all of our Northern California desired customers. We get a lot of requests in other areas that we don't serve yet. And then, we're also looking to the future of when we'll be coming into SoCal. So that is in motion. But, priority is really just making sure we can reach all the areas of NorCal. So we are fundraising for that now and really excited to grow further.
Yes, good luck with that. Now, if brands or people who are coming online, they want to be considered to be part of the Sava product lineup, what's that process like? How do you want people to reach out to you?
Yeah, I would say for today, people can email me. My email is andrea@getsava.com. And then I would put that over to our curation team. So we filter pretty regularly because we do get a lot of inbound. But, basically it's like a brand reaches out, it goes to our curation team. We do kind of just like a vision, and they know what to look for as like a first pass. And then if it seems that there's potential, it goes on the curation board. And then we have a process, which is sending that brand a questionnaire for them to fill out. And then we get more information. And then the next step would be that we get on a call and then test the product. It's a different type of process than getting on other menus, but we find that this process, it is key to who we are and which products we have, which products we don't have. So it's always been worth spending time to make sure that curation process is really special and strong.
And I appreciate that. And, one of the things, if we're talking about unpacking the shopping experience, if you know that you have access to a product lineup that's already been vetted, the best thing that you can do is really track the data of your experience. So, get something when it's on sale in a bundle where you can try a bunch of things and then write the shit down. How did I feel? How do I feel now? Was this good for being active or going to sleep? And, so many people, they want cannabis to do something particular for them, but they're not giving it the space and honoring the experience to be able to how do I feel in my body right now? And then, later they don't remember how something made them feel and they just, pop it again. And then 30 minutes later, they're like, damn it, this is the thing that gives me cotton mouth. And, and I'm about to get on a call. And so, there's just so many different nuances to products, how they make you feel. And so a lot of the onus of the shopping experience, comes down to what you do after those products are delivered to your doorstep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love that. I also like to track things still. I still am trying new things, still make adjustments. Again, for me, that's part of the fun of this plant. I use it still regularly for pain, but I also use it for pleasure and social enjoyment. And, it's always fun to try new things, mix it up a little bit, but also know what your, tried and true favorites are.
Now, what advice do you have for the completely obscene CBD market that's out there? I get asked probably 10 times a day, hey, what do you think about this CBD product? So, there's so many. So what are those few little things that you're like, okay, this is what you can do to quickly vet a CBD company?
It's not fully my area because what you're talking about is the hemp market, not the THC market, if I'm reading this question correctly. So to me, the biggest thing, is this product clean and healthy? And the way that is through testing. And that would be the number one thing if it was me and I was I'm going to try hemp products, I would want to know it's tested, but also it gets hard for the layperson because it's well, what am I trying to say here? Once you're deep in the knowledge in the world and on the THC side, you look at everything differently. So it's is something tested? It might say tested, but what is it tested for? And what levels were they examining? And what we know from being, a licensed in California is the amount of tests that a product has to go through to pass to get on a shelf, like no pesticides, no microbials, no fungicides. Like there's so much testing that's involved. What's awesome is the product that we're getting is really clean. It's more testing than it goes through, like food goes through.
Yes.
So, and then we also know that this plant is a bioaccumulator and will suck up anything that from the soil. And so if this product is grown, let's say overseas or somewhere not regulated, like what sort of heavy metals and things from the soil are then being sucked up and going into your body. So I think it's important to be buying your CBD products from licensed retailers because those products are tested. And then anything outside of that, it's hard to know to really ascertain what's in that product because I don't know what labs they're using. I don't know how they measure it. And there have been, numerous times where products are taken and tested and brought to, like a hemp product's brought to a cannabis lab, and lo and behold, the results are wildly different. So while labs within cannabis and the THC side are still also dialing in and getting more standardized, there's data we have access to that most hemp companies aren't even, going through the process to try to get that data before they sell to their customers. So I like supporting small businesses, and I want to know that things are clean. If I left Sava today and moved on somewhere else, which I'm not planning to do, I would still, and I am someone who uses high CBD products, I would still only be getting from licensed retailers.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. And, it's one thing to say, make sure that there's a certificate of analysis, but literally click on that QR code, look at the certificate of analysis with your own eyes.
Yes. That is, it's critical, and once you know what these things mean, then you look for it even more.
Recently with my move, I jacked up my neck and I couldn't turn my head, and my massage therapist was out of town for 10 days. And so I just was like, okay, I'm going to give CBD the test of a lifetime. Like I'm going to consume 90 milligrams of CBD every day. I'm tracking when I'm taking it, how I'm feeling. And I'd never done that before. I take CBD every day, but I wasn't taking it in this really regimented way. And probably it was about 2 weeks into it where I finally was like, I think like my overall inflammation is down and I'm just feeling better in general. And I tell that story as a way to just say consistency. Once we start experimenting, we do need to give it some consistent time to see how something really works.
Yeah. And that I love that you say that. And I think also when especially if there's something off, like where you hurt your neck, when you're in pain, you want to come out of it. And so it's also easy to try a bunch of different things at the same time. And it's like, let's say then you feel better. It's like, but which was the thing? Is it the combination or was it one ingredient in particular? And again, it's hard when you're in pain because you're like, get me out of here. Like, I want to take what's going to make it stop. But being able to experiment in that way and try something for 2 weeks, provided there's no negative impact out of the gate, I love that you did that, because with high CBD, sometimes, again, you may not feel altered. So it's like, how do you feel though, after a week or two of taking this? Like, do you feel that difference? Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not always, with THC, obviously there's always going to be an immediate effect. It is different with CBD in terms of just like, some people might feel it right away also, depending on your system, but someone who is a more seasoned user, like myself or yourself, if we were just taking that on its own, it's going to feel potentially a bit different for us.
Yeah. Like most of the time, just non-existent. Like I take it going, okay, I know that you are helping, balance my endocannabinoid system. I know all these things that you're doing for me, but I can't feel it. Whereas, I give some CBD to someone else and they're like, I thought you told me this wasn't going to make me high. I feel high. And I'm like, no, I think that's a lightness of being that you're feeling right now. But, it is so nuanced, and our systems are all so different that just, being willing to listen up, listen to your body, be consistent with it. I think that really is one of the keys to being a savvy shopper and consumer.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Full stop.
So I have to just tell you, this is kind of irrelevant, but I moved from about 850 square feet where I had like 3 or 4 smoking stations. There was like paraphernalia, ashtrays, papers, pipes, flour everywhere. Well, now I live in a 7,000 square foot farmhouse, and talk about like, where's my pipe? Where are my rolling papers? Where's this? So this has become my little, I carry this around the house, like when I'm going to bed at night. So that way there's always at least some flour, a little pokey thing, a little ashtray. I just have, this is my emergency around the house kit.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, out here, I am now starting to combine the wine and weed and, cannabis tourism and, bringing people to my space to experience the cannabis for wellness lifestyle. And one of the things that I would love to curate with y'all down the road is some sort of like, casually baked explorer kit. So if you're going to be in the Bay Area for 2 to 3 days, purchase this. You can try a random smattering of products from producers here in the Bay Area, but you're not going to be throwing away a bunch of shit at the airport on your way home. I think people don't know how to shop for just a couple of days supply.
I think that's true. And I love that idea. So let's do that. And I need to come visit you. I'm coming first.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. It's really fun. I'm going to start doing some little videos around the farm so people can get a better idea of what I'm up to besides this brown wooden wall behind me.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, for real, I need to come visit. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to welcoming you here, and I appreciate you taking time out of your Friday to chat cannabis shopping with me.
Of course.
Now,
this is really fun.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think is important to round out our chat?
We're just very passionate about helping people find the right cannabis for their needs. That's why we started. That's why we're here. And building this community and culture is really important to us. So we're excited to just continue to grow and continue to build our partnerships. We got reconnected. So for me, I have a particular passion to women continuing to own space in this industry. We have gone down in the ranks from where we started from legalization. And I'm not giving up, the ground that we have. So it's all the more important for me to collaborate with other women. And the Women in Cannabis story is just as needed as a conversation than ever. So I like to just always highlight that because we still have all sorts of uphill battles the way women do in other industries. And we've seen the same problems come into cannabis where, women have less access to capital than men do. So for me, it's always about, continuing to invest in the sisterhood, sharing information, helping to lift each other up. So that is always in the background of my mind as well. So I like to just bring it out wherever I can.
All right. I appreciate that. And if our conversation aligns with your values and you want to shop at getsava.com, if you use Casually Baked promo code, you can save $20 on your first order. That's my first plug as an affiliate.
Yeah, so glad to have you. So glad to have you.
Yes, absolutely. You have a fantastic weekend, and everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you.
All right, bye, guys. The clearer you can be with your why in everything in life, but right now, specifically with your relationship with plant medicine, I want you to ask yourself, why am I consuming cannabis? Or if you're new at this, why am I curious about consuming cannabis? Is it making me feel how I want to feel? How do I want to feel in specific moments or for certain things? Zeroing in on that sort of thing will make you a smarter shopper. You'll intuitively know what questions to ask, And if you don't find what you're looking for, you'll feel confident asking for what you want. And everyone appreciates constructive feedback. So if you love or don't particularly like a product, speak up and share your rave reviews when the inspiration strikes. When I mention putting yourself at the center of your shopping experience, what I mean is you do the heavy lifting when it comes to the decisions you make for your own health and wellness. I overhear so many customers ask the bud tender what their favorite thing is. The bud tender might be a different gender, in a different age bracket, with a totally different lifestyle and different reasons for consuming cannabis. How products affect that particular bud tender will likely be different for you. So absolutely ask the bud tender questions. I ask a lot of questions. Marketing can be alluring, but you are smart enough to look beyond that. Gather the relevant information and then listen to your body and choose for yourself. I will admit, I get choice paralysis. So a lot of times, I'll narrow a decision down to 2 things, and then I let the bud tender or a bartender, waiter, dressing room attendant, random stranger, seriously, I'll get anybody else to help me make the final decision. But at the end, I gotta own whatever that is. Right now, my creative journey has led me back to the beautiful wine and weed country of Sonoma County, California. As a cannabis lifestyle guide, I've cultivated a one-of-a-kind farm stay experience where you can enjoy the casually baked lifestyle and the magic of sun-grown cannabis farms and vineyards. If you're into wine, weed, wellness, great weather most of the time, or all of the above, get ready to have a high time customized just for you. Learn more at casuallybaked.com/travel. That's casuallybaked.com/travel. As always, I invite you to share your feedback or Canna curious questions with me by rating and reviewing the podcast wherever you listen. Or you can email me through the website at casuallybaked.com. If you're a social butterfly, I'm at Casually Baked on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and the WeedTube. And I invite you to come on over to the Highly Responsible Canna Consumer Facebook group. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, join the inner circle by becoming a podcast patron for $5 per month at patreon.com/casuallybaked. Creating positive change is a team sport, my friend. So thanks for doing your part to puff, puff, pass it on.
Yes, it's a high time. We had a high time together.
Casually Baked, the podcast, was created, recorded, and produced by yours truly. Editing and sound design are in the capable hands of Arnav Gupta. The podcast theme music is by my highly talented friend Seth Walker. If you aren't familiar with Seth's music, you can find High Time on his album Gotta Get Back wherever you're buying your music these days. I know he didn't create High Time for me, but it sure as shit sounds like he did, right? I hope you'll tune in next time. Thanks for hanging out.